What's up? My name's John Crist. I am a stand-up comedian, and you are watching Thank God for Jury Duty.
Most importantly about myself, I grew up homeschooled, you guys. Yeah! Listen, hey, a lot of people make fun of homeschool. I don't, okay? To me, it was like the goodest thing that ever happened to me. Does everyone get that? Are we good? I only say that because I did that joke in West Virginia last night, and they were like, we don't get it.
Oh, man, let's see. Lately, we are in, where are we at? Virginia. We've been on tour. I'm touring with a comic named Tim Hawkins. We've been out on the road for just the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We go out about once a month together. I go with him about once a month, and then I kind of go on my own, touring around the country, telling jokes. I'm a stand-up comedian. I don't know if that's been covered or not, but yeah, touring around the country, telling jokes. Man, I got no complaint. Yeah, we go we go on a tour bus. I guess everybody's like, "That's your bus, man." It's not my bus. I'm just lucky to be a part of it. I'm lucky to be on board. I'm the tour with Tim Hawkins. Like I said, I am the maybe opening act. Maybe, I don't know. I don't come on at the beginning. I come on in the middle of the show, and the show's about pushing about 2 hours, and I'm probably involved in about 20-25 minutes of it or something like that. So it's a good time. I sleep better on the bus at night because you don't have to worry about if you're in a hotel, like they might leave you. You know what I'm saying? You got to wake up at a certain time, but the bus, you're not going to get left anywhere, so it's less stress. As a comedian, we don't think about those things very well. We don't think about details so much, so it's good.
I live out in Denver, Colorado. I haven't found a church to go to yet there, so I'm going to give my tithe money to this Christian organization that feeds the hungry. Chick-fil-A. Yes! The pastor's not laughing at that joke, but everybody else.
I decided to do stand-up because let's see, one time in college, I told a joke, and it's probably not worth repeating here because it's terrible, but I never forget, I was kind of like an unassuming, shy type guy, and I thought this was going to be hilarious, whatever, and I was a pledge in my fraternity. No one knew who I was or knew anything about me, and I just came out and I said this joke. And I was dead serious, straight face. I wasn't like, hey, everybody got a joke for you. I just said it. And everyone, like, lost their minds for, like, 5 minutes and couldn't get it together. And I was kind of laughing. I was like, this is the best feeling that I've ever had in my entire life. I want to figure out a way so I can do this for forever. And I think we're on the way there.
My little cousin's 5 years old. He's never heard of a diving board. Never heard of one. It was a couple years ago, some idiot kid tried to go off the diving board with his eyes closed, landed on the concrete. Oh, that's not the time to laugh. What's happening? Landed on the concrete, they were like, no more diving boards for everyone. Take out the diving boards. It's not safe. That's not the solution, America. Kids want to be idiots. We gotta start weeding some of these kids out. If I was in charge, I'd put a second diving board in the shallow end. I'm gonna go head first. Okay, you go for it, buddy. Not good. There's no diving boards, there's no bike ramps, there's no trampolines, and you wonder why you got grown men walking around in skinny jeans.
Let's see. But I mostly perform in comedy clubs and in colleges and in churches. So, like we were just talking about a second ago, there's lots of times comedians are like, hey, I want to come and work in the churches, and there's like, man, if you didn't grow up in church, there's a lot of like, I don't know, maybe issues or jokes that if you didn't grow up in church, you wouldn't know. Like, for example, as a single guy, any sex related joke is like, I'm not allowed to. I can't make those jokes, you know what I'm saying, in a church because it's inappropriate for whatever. Sex jokes and usually jokes about drinking are kind of like hot button topics that we don't either discuss or maybe it's like taboo. That's a better word. It's taboo. But if you didn't grow up in church, you wouldn't know that. And So like at church, I would stick to more. I had a lot of jokes about my dad's being a pastor and growing up in church, and jokes about specific Bible verses and references that I would never do in a club because they would be like, what? But a lot of I'd say the majority of my act, probably 75% of it is, it can go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's good in a church. Somebody told me when I was coming up as a comic, they said, instead of you trying to fit in with all these different venues, why don't you just be yourself? And if it's good enough, the people are going to come with you. So a joke like, my dad's a pastor, and he's also the mayor of the city. So a couple months after college, I was living at home. I was giving my dad my rent, my tithe, and my taxes. Like it's not the best joke in the world, obviously. That's probably not a good example, but that joke would work anywhere. It's a joke about me being a Christian, and it works in church, and it's autobiographical that it would work in a club. And so there's a little bit of changes I make here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. I think all of those places, like they're just kind of. I do a bunch of corporate events, like for a bunch of specific type companies, like obviously the Crisis Pregnancy Center, raising money for people that's a serious issue. And I've done shows for like. We did a show last week for an organization that was raising money for kids with learning disabilities. I'm like, okay, I don't have anything in my act that's going to turn those people off. But I think if you come up at the beginning and be like, hey, I'm a comedian and I appreciate what you guys do and I'm thrilled to be here supporting your ministry or your organization, then everybody can be like, okay, he's on our side, he's with us, then it's cool. So I think it's just there are a couple. You might have to say something right up front about how, I'm not gonna say anything offensive or communicate to them that you're on their team. And if you do that, then you can say all kind of inappropriate jokes about other stuff. It's fine, So maybe I wouldn't have any jokes about abortion anyway. But if I did, obviously, you probably wouldn't do those there.
If I was in charge, you were thinking about going to Niagara Falls in a barrel. My sign would say "Free barrels." Bring your friends.
Let's see. I like to, I'm kind of like, you would think as a comic that you're real super outgoing and you're like, oh, it's running around playing pranks on people and you're just joking all the time and you're like, but like in my downtime, I'd like to kind of be myself maybe and like write and like, everybody's like, oh, it must be zany all the time running around telling jokes, and I really like that. It's kind of like, I do love to do that, but I kind of like, I wouldn't say keep to myself, but just kind of like to, I like to ride my bike is what I like to do. There's a river, I wouldn't say a river, maybe like a lake. No, it's like a stream, but it's like a city stream. It's like, it doesn't go wherever it wants. The city like organized it this way, and there's a path next to it, and I ride my bike on it. If I could do anything to relieve stress, I would do that and listen to some country music.
I like these big mega churches. These are my favorite. I was coming here all the time. My church is huge mega church. They're like, we're just a family in here. We're the church. We're a mega church, but we're the church that knows you by name. And then you see this sign. Can we please have the parent of child 4, 6, Z9, or 5, Alpha 7? Like, it's a child. That kid's going to need counseling when he gets up. I said, if you're going to use that system for nursery, you better use the same system for baby dedications. Every child is sweet, even you, Alpha 6, Z9, or 5.
ChristianFarmersOnly.com is a video that I made. It was I was down at the comedy club one night, and I have a comedian, a friend. His name Meryl Wiles is her name. We were talking about, I don't know how we were talking about ChristianMingle.com, and then she's like, hey, have you heard of Farmers Only? Or maybe I said, what about FarmersOnly.com? And then she goes, just being stupid. She's like, I wonder if there's a Christian Farmer Mingle. She said Farmer Mingle, I think. She's like, what if is there a Christian farmer? Or I don't know more what she said, and it kind of got me thinking. And then the next day I texted her because I was going to tweet about it. I was going to make that a joke on a Twitter or something like that. I was like, hey, do you mind if I tweet about Christian Farmers Only? And she's like, yeah, whatever. And then it kind of was like, well, maybe I should Instagram, maybe I should take a photo, so maybe I should dress up as a farmer. And then I ended up buying the URL of the website. And then I was like, well, maybe I should just make a full-length video out of it. And so we made like a television commercial in essence about it. And it's funny because it kind of, it kind of like took a life of its own, maybe in a lot of ways, because I posted the video, and then people were like, "Is this real? Like, is this a real video? Is this really happening?" And then I was like, I kind of just took it farther. So then I put an email address up on the website. I was like, if you want to submit your profile to the website, here's an and then I started getting emails about people that actually wanted to be hooked up with other Christian farmers. And we haven't had any actual couples come of the site yet, but we're working on it.
Good friends are like fine wine. That's why I keep mine locked in the cellar. The other day I was in the back of church and we were singing that song, How He Loves Us. You know that song? Guy leaned over next to me and goes, "Dude, who's Howie?" But he loves us.
Hecklers. Let's see. I got a bunch. There's one of my favorites was actually that I have a buddy that got. I was sitting in the crowd and he got somebody threw a beer bottle at him. Threw a beer bottle. I never forget it. His name's Todd Glass. They threw a beer bottle at him and he moved and smashed on the wall behind him. Me personally. No one's ever gotten like it only happens when people are drinking. So like in a church, you would never get heckled, or like people want to be a part of the show, or they think something's funny, and then other people are getting annoyed. And then like if somebody was sitting in the crowd, I'm trying to think, if someone was sitting in the crowd and they were just enjoying the show, weren't making it, I would never just go after someone. I'd be like, "What's up with the way you're dressed?" I would never say something. But if someone maybe volunteers themselves and says something, then I think in a lot of ways they've basically made it said, "Hey, I'm a target now." Like if you're just sitting there having a good time, I'm never gonna go after you. I don't. But if you say something to me, then I'm forced to kind of defend myself. So. A lady said one time that she was gonna. She had steel-toed boots on and she was gonna kick me one time, and then I said, "Well, that's probably unnecessary. I'm gonna go out backstage." And she says, "I got a Leatherman in my pocket," which a Leatherman I believe is a knife, and that is about as far as I've ever gotten toward. I don't have anything hateful in my act or anything racist or nothing like that, but that is probably the farthest I've ever got to. Getting hurt on stage, yeah.
That's me and Tim, man. People always ask us all the time, like, "How do you write jokes? How do you write jokes?" I'm like, "Man, we're walking around Colonial Heights all day. How do you not write jokes?" Oh, this title of the store, no lie, it just says Chinese. What's happening in there? I'm like, well, maybe it's Chinese food. Maybe it's a store that gives loans to Americans. I went in, the fire alarm went off, everyone ran out, ran 3 circles around the building, and went back in.
I take all of them. It is, it's a good question. Instagram it's kind of became like a thing for me. I probably, in my phone right now, I probably have 50 ideas I have like an Instagram page, notes, and I just said, this would be funny to take this, or funny to do this. And it's if you're a comedian and you have a full-time job, obviously you don't have time to. But some of these Instagrams, I have these ideas that I want to do, and they've kind of grown. And the more people that follow me on Instagram, the more like bold I am to either break the law to get some kind of photo, or sneak into something to get a photo. And then a couple of them are starting to cost me money now. Like I'd have to buy a certain prop or something like that. But I think it's you asked me who takes the Instagrams. That's like the biggest compliment I could ever have, because you assume that I'm taking them from somewhere else, or some people are helping me, and they are not. They all come from my mind. 2 of them
I think I have about 400 photos. 2 of them I took from, I'm trying to think, there's like a meme about a black kid in church. He's like, every time I want to leave church, my mom's always talking. And I was like, this is so, and there's that one in the DC Talk photo. There's like 2 of them that I'm like, this is so true about me and my childhood. And I've said that in the description. I said, this isn't my photo. It's just funny. But yeah, those are the only 2, but I take all the rest.
Here's the rule in my house. My dad said, no movies that aren't realistic. So we couldn't watch like Terminator or Die Hard because my dad said, those movies aren't realistic. I was like, Dad, this rule doesn't make any sense. You just made us watch a movie where Bible characters are played by vegetables.
One time I was in the air, let's see. I wanted to communicate the idea of when you're in the airport, you're always trying to find a plug for your phone to charge it, and it's so confusing. I was like, it'd be funny if I was sitting down and I was reaching across somebody and then it was and it was like awkward or something like that. So there's a guy and his buddy sitting down. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the photos have been staged, but they're all my photos that have and they're all real. But so I said to the guy, hey, would you mind if I plug my phone in on the other side of you and I'm trying to, I think what I said to him was, my mom is texting me and I'm trying to tell my mom I gotta go because I don't have battery. So I'm trying to communicate to my mom how far I would go to prove to her to get battery. So it's gonna take. So I made up a story, and he's like, "Yeah, it sounds funny." But the problem with that one was, we needed my phone. I needed my phone in the photo because I was using my phone. So I was like, "Well, we got to get someone else to take the photo." So I had to ask someone else to take the photo, and then I had to be like, "Here's my phone number. Can you text me?" And it's super awkward, but like I said, it was like, man, 4,000 people are gonna see this. It's gonna be worth it, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of put myself in the line a little bit. Anyway.
You gotta grow up. Our minds just work differently. I feel like, you ever had that, like you get to a certain level of maturity in life, and then sometimes like immature thoughts sneak into your head, you know? We shouldn't be responsible for those. I was sitting in the back of church the other day, I was like, I wonder what would happen if I pulled that fire alarm right now. That's not a thought an adult should have.
You can find me. You're probably going to be watching this video on YouTube. So when you're done, you just go right up to the top there and you type in John Crist. And I probably got I got a bunch of videos. All kind of the Christian Farmers Only videos out there, a bunch of stand-up videos. Obviously, JohnChristComedy.com is where you can find all my tour dates and everything like that and videos. And then it's John B. Crist on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So twitter.com/John B. Crist, and then the same for all the other ones. And come check it out. Come up to a show, and you can say you saw me on this video, and then we'll be friends.
I heard that recently the man who invented the television remote control passed away. They found him at home in between the couch cushions.
My Toms are dirty. Hashtag first world problems. Hashtag third world problems. Okay. That's funny right there. I don't care who you are. That's funny right there.
Still the worship MVP. Yes, that is true. Long-standing. Yes, 4 years in a row.
I was driving down my neighborhood the other day. I saw 2 kids jumping on a trampoline with helmets on. Remember, we used to like pull the trampoline up to the house and get the neighborhood fat kid on the roof to try to bounce us into the neighbor's pool. That's a trampoline. My name is John Crist, everybody.